Hello, you're watching Into Vietnam Weekend Edition exclusively on VITV channel. The program will summarize the most outstanding events during the past week, top stories of the week. The ANZ keeps its forecast that Vietnam's economy will grow 5.6% in 2014. Vietnam disburses $9.23 trillion of state fund for investments in February. This week, Business Talk is joined by Mr. Enzo Faluzzi, head of an Italian business delegation to Vietnam. He says Italian businesses sees Vietnam as a good place for investment. Let's begin with this week's figures. In its updated report on Vietnam's economy, the ANZ maintains its GDP growth forecast of 5.6% in 2014 and 5.8% in 2015, thanks to slow but stable improvements. The bank has estimated inflation for Vietnam to 7 to 7.5% this year. It says Vietnam would continue to benefit from external effects despite low domestic consumption demand. The ANZ points out continued external forces for Vietnam's economy in February. FDI was still a firm foundation for the economy. As of February the 20th, there was 122 newly registered foreign investor projects worth totally $830.9 million. 41 existing projects was licensed to add capital of $708.8 million. Thus, total FDI in the month hit $1,539.7 million. Manufacturing sector took the lead in FDI absorption with $624 million, followed by realty with $156 million. Vietnam trade deficit was brought down to $244 million in February. ANZ foresees that Vietnam's import and export activities will continue to benefit from improvements in developed economies, while domestic demand and consumption remain low. Improvements of external factors will allow Vietnamese policymakers to restructure their organizations. The ANZ believes bright prospect of international trade and FDI will create the room for the government to adjust policies related to state firms. The HSBC said the Purchasing Manager Index of PMI stood at 51 points in February. Though lower than the 52.1 in January, the reading still signals an improvement in operating conditions in the sector. Business conditions have now strengthened in each of the past 6 months. However, the rate of expansion eased to the lowest since last October. Overall, new business rose modestly, with new orders increasing in 5 of the past 6 months. Firms partly met new orders through the delivery of finished goods to clients. As a result, post-production inventories decreased. The HSBC says the manufacturing sector continued to be Vietnam's bright spot, with output and employment expanding. However, weakened external demand, especially in China, is a concern. Vietnam's motorbike market was badly hurt by the prolonged Lunar New Year holidays and accompanying sluggish demand, with the sales in the first 2 months reported at record low levels. According to the Vietnam Association of Motorcycle Manufacturers, Vietnam-based manufacturers sold 200,000 motorbikes in February, below January when their sales has plunged 97% from a year ago to 335,000 bikes. Motorbike sales in Vietnam have shown a decline in the last 3 years, largely due to a slowdown in the country's economic growth. Domestic motorbike sales for 2013 dropped to some 2.5 million compared to 3.1 million in 2012. In addition, 2012 growth was down 5.03% over 2011, the slowest pace in 13 years. Vietnam's motorbike market is the 4th largest in the world after China, India, and Indonesia. Coming up next is some major macroeconomic and investment news. According to the Vietnamese government portal, Vietnam is estimated to have disbursed 9.23 trillion dong, or more than $437.22 million of state fund for investment in February, in which about 1.7 trillion dong was funded by central agencies and 7.5 trillion dong was funded by localities. In the first 2 months of the year, the country is estimated to have disbursed a total of 20.8 trillion dong, or $987 million for investment projects, down 1.2% on year and meeting 11.6% of the whole year plan. Of the sum, the central agencies provided 4 trillion dong, down 0.1% on year, fulfilling 10.2% year target, and localities funded 16.8 trillion dong, down 1.2% on year, meeting 12% of the whole year plan. The Ministry of Industry and Trade stated that the country's energy sector witnessed a relatively high growth rate in the initial 2 months of 2014 compared to the same period last year. The released figures show that the electricity production in February were estimated at 9.31 billion kilowatt-hour, reducing 7% as compared to the previous month, but increasing 19% in comparison with the same period last year. The power output in the first 2 months of the year reached 19.3 billion kilowatt-hour, posting a 10% year-on-year increase. The petroleum sector also reported high growth of all key products in the period. The coal exploitation output increased last month, while consumption was estimated at 2.78 million tons, reducing by 9.5% on year. According to the Economic Zone Management Department, under the Ministry of Planning and Investment, improved FDI attraction has pushed the industrial property market forward. Investment in industrial zones last year revealed positive trends. Giants such as Samsung and LG have had their investment echoed, with satellite projects following their wake. CBRE Vietnam forecasted the industrial zone real estate market would remain busy because Vietnam had emerged as an attractive destination for foreign investors. With good infrastructure, good logistic networks, and proximity to China and international ports and airports, Hanoi and Haiphong will remain attractive industrial zone destinations. The Vietnam Asset Management Company, or VAMC, has so far purchased approximately 39 trillion dong worth of non-performing loans from banks, exceeding its 30 to 35 trillion dong target. However, what VAMC will do to this huge amount of bad debts remains a big open question. The VAMC is in the process of classifying and restructuring loans together with banks to help ease businesses' difficulties and shore up production. The company is also reviewing loans and considering appropriate interest rates, enabling businesses to get more capital and pay back to banks. Currently, the Ministry of Justice is drafting a document allowing VAMC to sell its guarantee asset to recover debt. The document will create a legal corridor for VAMC to resell its assets quickly and conveniently. Under the draft document, the guarantee asset will be tackled with the agreement of parties concerned, and if no agreement is reached, bids will be invited for it. Chief of the State Bank of Vietnam says the central bank purchased $4 billion worth of foreign currencies for the National Foreign Exchange Reserve in the first 2 months of this year, thanks to stable foreign exchange rates and local financial market. The purchase that has enriched the National Forex Reserve, which was reported to have over $30 billion at its disposal by the end of last year, would have stabilized the forex rate in the market. The interbank rate quoted at the State Bank of Vietnam transaction offices has maintained unchanged at 21,036 dong to the dollar from the late June last year. According to the official statistics calculated from January to February the 20th, the total money supply of the local economy were estimated to rise by 1.94% compared to December 2013 and 3.3% over the same period last year. many banks are deploying solutions to increase credit for agriculture and rural development. Agribank is the leading bank with highest proportion of lending to agriculture and rural development, with approximately 70% of total outstanding loans. However, other banks such as VITV, VITV, and Vietcombank also have high share of credit to the area, equivalent of 40% of total loans, increasing of 4 times over the past 3 or 4 years. A representative from VITV shared that in the context of current tightening monetary policies, agricultural customers are the relative safe and stable channel. It also in line with the state policy, although the profit is less than lending to non-production areas.
Foreign direct investment or FDI into Ho Chi Minh City has risen sharply in terms of registered capital and the number of investment licenses over the first 2 months of 2014. According to the Ho Chi Minh City Department of Planning and Investment, in the period, the city authority has granted 46 investment licenses, up by 12.2% year-on-year, with a total registered capital of $164.3 million, up by 267.2% on last year. In addition, the city authority has approved plans for capital expansion of $52.6 million for operational projects. The department said the city's economy remains stable and is showing positive signs of recovery in retail sales and service revenues, tourism and transport services, as well as in export turnover in the first 2 months of this year.
And now it's time for some import and export activities.
According to the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, export value of wood and timber products in the first 2 months of 2014 increased 8.4% to $796 million. The ministry reported that the United States remained Vietnam's largest wood and timber products importer, having imported woods worth $186.67 million in the period, about 30% of the total value of Vietnam wood and timber product exports. China was second largest importer of these products, with imports valued at $90 million in January, a 60% rise compared to the same period last year. Japan ranked third with imports of $67 million, relatively unchanged from the previous year. Cumulative wood and timber exports were more than $5.37 billion in 2013, a year-on-year increase of 15.2%. Vietnam garment and textile exports in February nearly doubled over the same period last year and totaled $1.3 billion for the month. The Ministry of Industry and Trade reported that Vietnam's garment export market showed positive signs of improvement and production is picking up in pace after the Lunar New Year holiday. The first 2 months, garment export revenue saw a rise of 30% from a year earlier thanks to a sharp increase of 33% in casual wear exports, 36% in natural fabrics, and 6.5% in polyester fabrics. The MOIT said that garment and textile businesses are reporting a solid upswing in export contracts and orders for the second and third quarter of this year. While the import of dried fish into the US and EU market is booming, many Vietnamese businesses are sitting on the sidelines due to lack of planning and inventory management. The VASEP said only proactive businesses with good inventory models in place can keep production at full steam. Dried fish material costs currently stand at reasonable $24,000 per kilogram, but there is no available material for processing businesses, and the shortage is forecast to last through the remainder of the year. Another contributing factor is that farmers' land cultivation slid by 60% compared to last year. Production of dried fish in March was 60,000 tons, much lower than 150,000 tons recorded in March 2013. In addition, the recent prolonged cold weather has affected the reproductive ability of dried fish, resulting in a sharp reduction of fry.
Banks' credit has been low and even negative in the first months of this year. In a bid to boost lending, banks have deployed incentive and low interest rate lending programs. However, this is not really good news for businesses, as most of them have been unable to make bank loans for some different reasons. More to follow. Antian Lee Company provides production materials for footwear manufacturers. It has high hope for free trade agreements that Vietnam plans to conclude, as market scale will be broadened, bringing more chances for the company. In the context, the company needs more funds to raise productivity and competitiveness of Vietnamese products. However, making bank loans is not easy for the company.
Nghĩ là nhu cầu vốn là cũng rất lớn. Nhưng mà nói thật, cái nhu cầu vốn này là đây là tôi lại nói lại vẫn không công bằng. Thứ nhất là ưu đãi cho các doanh nghiệp và nhà nước quá. Cho nên nhà nước nên đứng ra làm trọng tài. Ai làm ăn hiệu quả thì nên tôn trọng, trân trọng người đó hơn. Đó là cái thứ nhất. Là cái thứ nhì nữa là thậm chí đó là nói ngân hàng nhà nước, còn ngân hàng thương mại cũng vẫn có vấn đề. Ở cái chỗ họ thì đúng là họ trân trọng đầu vốn của họ hơn ngân hàng nước, nhưng mà cũng có một vấn đề, họ lại có những cái công ty sân sau thì họ lại cho những cái công ty ấy vay dễ dãi quá, cũng một là cũng tạo cái sự không công bằng trong các doanh nghiệp, cái thứ hai là cũng rất rủi ro.
On the bank side, they have introduced a lot of incentive programs in the beginning of this year. For instance, VITV launched the preferential loans worth 5 trillion dong for individual and household customers. Cbank also put in place a 4 trillion dong credit package for small and medium-sized enterprises and household businesses with minimum lending rate of 8.5% per annum. However, firms have not shown absolute confidence in banks' preferential lending programs.
Phải nói là hiện nay chính bản thân tôi là lúc nào cũng nhận được là ngân hàng nó mời gọi cho vay. Nhưng mà thực sự hiện nay với những ưu đãi thường là họ ưu đãi rất là ngắn hạn. Bây giờ 3 tháng đầu với lãi suất 6%, nhưng mà 3 tháng sau thì cái con số không biết được. Nó cũng làm cho người ta không yên tâm. Thí dụ bây giờ 3 tháng đầu thì cái lãi suất đã chấp nhận được, nhưng mà 3 tháng sau thì sao? Chính là tức là mặc dù có sự cố gắng của ngân hàng, nhưng mà nó bối cảnh chung với cái mức độ lãi suất như vậy thì thực sự so sánh 2 năm trước thì giảm rất là nhiều, nhưng mà so sánh với lãi suất khu vực chúng ta vẫn là thuộc về cái lãi suất là khá cao.
The State Bank of Vietnam reveals data from commercial bank shows abundant financial resources of hundreds of trillion dong. To boost the outflow of the funds, many of them are willing to lend out at 5 to 5.8% per year for potential customers. But in the current tough economic conditions, firms are quite prudent in their investment and focusing on improving product quality rather than expanding production scale. For the reason, credit is still abundant in banks, while firms are thirsty for capital.
Phải nói rằng đó là cái việc mà kéo giảm lãi suất với cái khả năng tiếp cận tín dụng á của một bộ phận doanh nghiệp á, nó có một khoảng cách của nó. Ví dụ như là không phải doanh nghiệp nào cũng có thể tiếp cận được cái lãi suất thấp. Bởi vì ví dụ như tình trạng là cái tình hình tài chính hay là cái nợ xấu của doanh nghiệp hay là cái cơ hội mà phục hồi làm ăn doanh nghiệp mà không có gọi là theo đánh giá là không tốt thì rõ ràng cái tiếp cận vẫn là có hạn chế. Thành ra phải nói rằng cái tình trạng mà chúng ta nói suốt 2013 đó là tình trạng thừa tiền, thiếu vốn vẫn còn tiếp tục chứ chưa thể chấm dứt được. Khi mà cái giải quyết vấn đề nợ xấu, cái điểm nghẽn của hấp thụ tín dụng là chưa có giải quyết được căn bản.
Now lending rate is equivalent to that in 2005-2006 and half of that in the final half of 2011. The current interest rate is suitable to the expected inflation level, helping to ensure banks' lenders and depositors benefits. Firms with bad debt history but have new orders and need to expand production will need bank support so that they could recover and grasp new chances. Italian businesses see Vietnam as an appealing destination for investment, as an open gate to other countries in Southeast Asia. A business delegation of Umbria Financial Industrial Center of Italy came to Vietnam to seek for investment chances. On this occasion, we had a talk with Mr. Enzo Falosi, head of the Umbria Business Delegation of Italy to Vietnam. More to follow.
First of all, thank you so much for joining our interview on VITV channel. Shall we begin with some introduction about the Umbria delegation to Vietnam this time?
Yeah, Umbria delegation is composed on about 12 companies, Umbria companies. The sector are mechanics, biomedical, agricultural machine, and for Umbria, 12 companies is a number very important, and the company during this week are meeting about 80 Vietnamese companies for a total of 180 B2B meeting. All the organization was possible with the support of our embassy, of the Italian Trade Commission, of Italian Chamber of Commerce, and the representation of Intesa San Paolo, Banca Intesa in Vietnam. So all the Italian system has supported in the organization of this mission.
What are your main expectations when coming here?
Our expectations are different because for many companies there is the expectation to sell. For other companies there is an expectation to evaluate the possibility to establish a local production, and it's clear that from a mission the concrete result are not the contracts. Also, in this case, there are some result of this kind. But in general, our expectation is to understand the country, to understand the opportunities of various sectors, to meet local Vietnamese companies, to understand the interest, concrete interest, and in particular to evaluate if there are concrete possibilities of partnership, commercial partnership, industrial partnership. So at the end of this week we will resume all our information, all our sensation to manage a strategy for the future. In our mind, the main strategy is to realize activity that will involve not only the industrial sector, but also the cultural sector, the university sector, the training sector. We want to organize a strategy wide in which Umbria can propose all the excellence, not only industrial. Many companies of this delegation are already signed contact, in one case, two cases, also the contract. So this is an important result for us, and we use this result to elaborate a strategy, wide strategy for the next month, next year.
What are your general assessments of the B2B meeting so far?
Our general assessment is good because we have organized 108 B2B, and in general there is a good result. In certain sector is more difficult to establish contact, to establish a commercial partnership, because there are difference of price from the European price, Italian price, and the price that the Vietnamese company can pay it. But in other sector, there is a very, very strong interest to establish a wide relationship, also to evaluate the possibility to establish here the production in Vietnam, because we know that Vietnam is a strategic country inside the Asian area. So for us, we are looking Vietnam as a country that is very, very strategic to establish a wider relationship also with Laos, Cambodia, Thailand, and we think that Vietnam could be a very, very good country in which we have also a very good relationship with your ambassador in Italy, and so in Italy, as you know, now this year is the year of Italian-Vietnam diplomatic relationship, 40 years. So this year in Italy is the year of Vietnam. So yeah, so all is focused, very, very attention on Vietnam. And now we are here, and we are the first Italian delegation in this year that is coming here. Thank you to you. Thank you to you.
As usual, the final part is the summary of local securities market during the week. Well, that's all for now. Thank you for your attention. For comments and feedback, you can reach us by email at intovietnam@vitv.vn or give us a call at 0422208288. Goodbye and enjoy your weekend.